Welcome back. I'm so glad that you've chosen to join me again on my YouTube channel. I'm having a lot of fun with this, and one of the things that I've spoken openly about is that this is really just a hobby for me. So I feel like that gives me a little bit of extra freedom to constantly assess and adjust. And one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is that I'm probably spending a little bit too much time focusing on channel listings, start times of games. All of that can be found on my website, www.themoderndodo.com. Again, that's www.themoderndodo.com. I refresh that every Sunday late afternoon, evening, once the previous week's matchups have played out, to include a full schedule of all the must-see sports events with the start time and the channel listing. So that information's always going to be available there. I think that this video context allows me to provide a little bit more opinion, and that's what really makes sports great and exciting, is that we have all these opinions, whether it's before or after the games, as to what's going to happen or what did happen. Now, what already did happen on Sunday morning is that I rocked the red and the yellow because I was treated to a 7 a.m., my preferred kickoff time, 7 a.m. coffee, 2 screens, Arsenal 3-1 over Leicester, Norwich City 2-0 victory. So I went 5-0 on aggregate this morning. I've had a phenomenal start to my Sunday, and maybe for that reason, I'm viewing this week's schedule more favorably than I should, but I really think I've got a good one in store, or the sports world has a good one in store, I should say, for you, because there's a ton of rivalries on the docket. So I started to get a little bit nervous about, okay, we came off consecutive weeks of Champions League, Europa League, just absolutely amazing fixtures. Is this week going to be a letdown? And what I found is that there's massive rivalries on the pitch, on the ice, and perhaps more importantly, on the court. This week is really about hoops, and it makes sense if you check your schedule because it's March. March Madness is officially here. So let's jump right into it. It doesn't start with hoops. It actually starts with soccer, and it starts with La Liga Soccer. Now, I wanted to talk about this just a little bit. I actually haven't sampled it myself, but beIN Sports has become a huge provider of European soccer. So if you're watching in the US and you want to catch these matches, beIN Sports is seemingly the go-to. I usually catch the ones that are on TV, ESPN+. I believe beIN offers an annual subscription as well as purchasing by game. There's also another channel called Fanatiz with a Z, Fanatiz. You'll be able to catch this La Liga matchup between Real Sociedad and Real Madrid on either one of those streaming providers. Now, why would you want to catch this? Because Real Madrid's not at the top of the table in the Liga this year. I think they're in third place. We'll see where it plays out once the weekend passes. But both Madrid and Sociedad absolutely need the points because they're competing for Champions League spots. So again, that starts off our week at 3:15. Our weeks have been starting a little bit slow. That certainly sets the tone for a great week ahead. Later that evening, on the ice, the Maple Leafs and the Oilers. The way the NHL has loaded up their schedules, teams are playing each other more regularly with these realigned divisions. The Maple Leafs Oilers has been one of those, and it's been an absolute treat because as much as I hate to give the Maple Leafs credit for anything, I think they get way too much credit as is. Austin Matthews deserves all that credit. He's one of the most exciting young talents in the NHL. What's not debatable is Connor McDavid for the Oilers is also one of the most exciting young talents. I saw some stats the other day about how favorably his young career compares to Sidney Crosby's on a point per game basis. It's absolutely amazing what he's doing. So those are two of the most exciting talents in the NHL. And then on the NBA side, we get maybe a tongue twister, a back-to-back Ball brother doubleheader on Monday night on NBA TV. It's the Jazz, it's the Pelicans, it's the Hornets, it's the Trailblazers. Check it out, the Ball brothers both playing. You can compare and contrast because they'll be playing one after another. On Tuesday, March 2nd, March Madness officially kicks off in a big way, and it does so at 5 p.m. Number 2 Baylor travels to number 10 West Virginia, and then at 7 p.m., number 5 Illinois plays number 3 Michigan. Later that evening, after you've filled up your tank on NCAA men's hoops, the Suns versus the Lakers, 10 p.m. on TNT. Makes for a phenomenal Tuesday. We're absolutely rolling, and I get a treat because, as I've talked about, I've got my allegiance to the Norwich City Canaries, and they've got a huge matchup on Wednesday at 12:30. So it's not on BN. It's not on Fanatics. It's on another app called iFollow. That's where I watch all the Norwich City games. The rate's like $9 per match. You can also buy an annual subscription there. But Norwich hosts Brentford. And the reason that I'm highlighting it, because I do highlight Norwich regularly with my attire, on my TikTok streams, on Twitter, things like that that are a little bit more casual for me. But while I'm highlighting it here, these are the top 2 teams in the championship table. What does that mean for a soccer fan who's more casual? It means that a lot of money's on the line. So the championship is the 2nd division. The top 3 teams get automatic promotion next year up to the Premier League, and they get all that NBC contract TV money. So it's absolutely massive. What you'll see is that teams that are in danger of being relegated or promoted will actually prepare 2 sets of budgets and business plans so that they can adjust based on whether they're in the championship or up in the Premier League, because that TV money is absolutely so massive. And when you talk about budgets and business plans, that goes down to player signings and which players they keep, which players they sell. So that's going to be a big one for those automatic promotion spots, which are the top 2. The 3rd spot you have to play into. So Norwich is about 6 points clear right now of Brentford. Brentford's only 3 points clear of the number 3 spot. So they'll need that a little bit more, but there's a lot of games to play. So both sides will need that. Both sides don't need it at 7 p.m., but they just don't like each other when the Capitals and the Bruins face off on the ice. On Thursday, must-watch afternoon soccer alert. I repeat, must-watch afternoon soccer alert. It starts at 3:15 p.m. The channel listing is still TBD on all the websites, but Liverpool versus Chelsea. Now, these are 2 of the, sort of self-glossed in the Premier League Big 4 clubs, but they're not playing like it. And they need some victories to earn a championship spot next year. Sorry, not championship spot, Champions League spot next year. So both teams need this win. The rosters are filled with talented players that you'll want to watch. They need these wins in a big way. So check that one out. Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Flyers, Penguins, rivalry alert, 7 p.m. on NBCSN. But I would actually advise you not to watch that because it gets even bigger on the hardwood court for the men. Michigan State travels to number 3 Michigan. I'm of course hugely biased, but Michigan State has the greatest coach right there, him and Coach K, 1-2 in my opinion, in all the land. And they're one of the top 10 most talented teams. Now, how can I say that when they're not even ranked? They started off the season on fire. Something happened. I don't know if it was leadership, it was a loss of swagger, confidence. It just didn't work out. Right now, Michigan State is still on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament, but they're starting to roll. They've scored 2 victories over top 5 teams in the past week alone, and they're getting closer and closer to making the NCAA tournament. If they do, I'm predicting one of those vintage Izzo runs where all of a sudden he is one of the teams that nobody's counting on to make it to the Final Four, and then we end up wondering, of course they're here. Why did we ever doubt them? So that matchup is an absolute massive matchup, and Michigan would love nothing more than to ruin Izzo's streak of 22 straight seasons of qualifying for the NCAA tournament. And as a Spartan, we need this win, and we hate Michigan. So gotta get it Tune into that on Thursday night. Skip the hockey, thank me later. On Friday night, NBA All-Star Weekend starts, and it starts at 7 p.m. with the Celebrity Game at 9 p.m. I think they call it the Rising Stars Challenge. It's a rookie-sophomore game. I usually wait until Saturday night to get involved in the NBA All-Star Weekend, but it's worth noting that those games are on. So let's move into Saturday. And before we get to NBA Saturday night, at 12:30 p.m. in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, Dortmund. It's a rivalry game. It's two rosters packed with star power. It's teams that are in the top 5 of the Bundesliga table. That game will be happening. I'll be watching that, but on the ice, Flyers, Penguins, 1 o'clock. Later at 6 p.m., another team, much like Michigan State with some work to do, Duke versus North Carolina. We know that's the blue blood rivalry, and Duke needs to get into the tournament. They need that win in a big, big way. At 8 p.m., the NBA Saturday night, I believe they call it. NBA Saturday night sounds about right. But what I do know is it's the skills challenge, it's the three-point contest, and it's the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. So the participants in the Slam Dunk Contest have not been announced yet. There's some talk about whether Zion will or won't be participating. The big rumor is that Obi Toppin, I believe he was like the number 7 or 9 something overall pick for the Knicks, will be participating. He's a big man. They usually have trouble winning, but that's the talk. So look for those participants. Again, 8 p.m. is when NBA All-Star Saturday night starts. Now, when we move into Sunday, of course there's early morning Premier League action, but it really kicks off with El Derby Madrileno. I hope I pronounced that right because it's a big one. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, two teams atop of La Liga table at 10:15 a.m. I'm actually sad, my heart aches a little bit because these two derbies overlap. But the Manchester Derby is at 11:30, and probably for the first time in the past 5 years that both Manchester United and Manchester City have been so highly ranked heading into this one. It's going to be a massive fixture, and I cannot wait until Sunday to figure out a way to juggle El Derby Madrileno and the Manchester Derby while they overlap for about a probably 20-minute window. Once we get into Sunday night, the coverage kicks off at 6 p.m. on TNT. The NBA always makes it entertaining, but the All-Star game is technically at 8 p.m. And it'll be a great way to wind down an amazing week full of rivalries. So before I sign off, I do want to remind you, if I didn't cover dates, time, channel listings for any of the matchups that you found especially interesting, head to my website, www.themoderndodo.com. It'll all be listed there. I also tweet them out each morning, a link to my website along with the schedule. In addition, I do some regular blog posts on my website. Quite frankly, it's just products that I run into throughout the day that I want to touch on. It gives me a way to have a little bit of fun, cover something outside of sports. One such product that I ran into at the grocery store is, let's call it a mashup between coffee, which I love, and soda, which I do not drink. So this is Coca-Cola Coffee. And this specifically is the caramel flavor. I scooped caramel, vanilla, and like a dark roast. And quite frankly, caramel I wanted to start with because I thought I would like it the least. I've already been sipping on it, and it's tasty. It's something like 70 calories. I'll cover it on a blog post on my website. And then as the week progresses and I try the other flavors, I'll tag onto that post in the notes down at the bottom, a follow-up on what those flavors are all about. So a way to have a little bit of fun, do something different outside of sports. If you find it interesting, what is a coffee fan who doesn't drink soda think of a coffee soda mashup? You can check out my website, themoderndodo.com. But to get back to sports, it's a rivalry week. March Madness is here. Whatever you choose to watch, enjoy it and have an amazing week.